Bounds Green School Relationships and Sex Education Consultation with Parents, May 2021. Hello and welcome to this presentation on relationships and sex education at Bounds Green School. This is a video that will form part of our parental consultation on this subject. Originally, we had planned face-to-face meetings in smaller groups where you would have come into school to hear a presentation and see our resources and ask questions. Unfortunately, the pandemic has put an end to this process, and so now we can only consult with you via this platform.
Aims and objectives: to inform parents about the new statutory RSE curriculum requirements, to gain views and opinions, to inform schools' relationship and sex education policy, to review age-appropriate resources and unit plans. To be honest with you, we do not have many resources for RSE. We are currently looking into buying books, but we will not be buying into a scheme. That is not the BG way.
New guidance. The new guidance was published and ready for implementation for September 2020. However, the pandemic put this on hold, and the government gave us a year to get ready for the changes. We are now ready to share these with you. It's taken 20 years for this subject to be reviewed and updated. It has been welcomed by schools as we believe it now reflects the modern child and the issues they will be dealing with in their lives. The new curriculum will help children navigate through up-to-date challenges, so different to the ones we faced as children. Sex education in primary schools remains optional. More on this later.
Relationships and sex education in primary schools. The aim of RSE is to give young people the information they need to help them develop healthy, nurturing relationships of all kinds, not just intimate relationships. It should enable them to know what a healthy relationship looks like and what makes a good friend, a good colleague, and a successful marriage or other type of committed relationships. It should teach what is acceptable and unacceptable behaviours in relationships. Pupils will understand the positive effects that good relationships have on their mental well-being, identify when relationships are not right, and understand how such situations can be managed. It is taught through a spiral curriculum which offers rich opportunities for learning about the application of British values and in the enhancement of pupils' spiritual, moral, social and cultural education. All primary schools are now required to teach relationships education. This is not new for us at Bounds Green, but what is new are some of the subjects we are teaching within the new guidelines. We will talk about this a bit more later on. Relationships education is now compulsory as it empowers our children to develop safe and healthy relationships and to protect themselves and to understand appropriate, inappropriate behaviours.
RSE in primary schools. Primary schools are not required to teach sex education. It is for them to determine whether they need to cover any additional content to meet the needs of their pupils, which many schools do already. The Department for Education recommends that all primary schools have a sex education programme tailored to the age and the physical and emotional maturity of the pupils. It should ensure that both boys and girls are prepared for the changes and that adolescence brings, and drawing on knowledge of the human life cycle set out in the National Curriculum for Science, how a baby is conceived and born. Therefore, the Department for Education encourages us to teach age-appropriate sex education.
There is a parental right of withdrawal from sex education. The lessons which some parents may wish to withdraw their children from are mainly in Year 5 and 6. Should you wish to withdraw your child, you will need to fill in a form that we will provide for you. We will put this on our website so you will have access to it. Once you've filled in the form, you will then discuss this with the head teacher. However, we will do our best to support you by showing you the resources we will be using, the content of our lessons, address any learning fears, as we would like all our children to be part of our learning journey.
Does the new Relationships and Sex Education curriculum take account of my faith? There is flexibility for all schools to deliver this curriculum in their own way, but statutory guidance must be followed. The DfE states that relationships education has been designed to help children from all backgrounds build positive and safe relationships and to thrive in modern Britain. This means taking into account the religious backgrounds of children when planning teaching so that topics are appropriately handled. In developing the document, the government has worked with a number of representative bodies and faith organisations representing all the major faiths in England. Several faith organisations produce teaching materials that schools can choose to use. The subjects are designed to help children from all backgrounds build positive and safe relationships and to thrive in modern Britain. You as parents are the prime educators. Children may come to you first, but we will complement, reinforce and build on what the children learn at home or pick up along the way. We will talk about this later and how you can get involved too. It is important for you to understand that as educators, we are not in the business of promoting a particular lifestyle over any other or make judgments on what is right or wrong. Our role is to teach children about life in modern Britain. We will always tell children to discuss specifics related to their own faiths and cultures with their families.
Overview of teaching expectations. There are 5 areas we need to focus on for relationships education. So relationships education primary. At Bounds Green, this is when we do it. Families and people who care for me, early years to year 6. Caring friendships, respectful relationships, online relationships from years 1 to year 6. Being safe, including the concept of personal privacy, non-mandatory sex education. At Bounds Green, as indeed in many primary schools, we focus on healthy relationships, family and friendships both on and offline. How to develop friendships, deal with problems, different types of families and what they look like, and what a healthy, respectful family relationship is. We look at self-respect, which is also very important. We also cover bullying and how to deal with this. Through our computing curriculum, we also look at behaviour online and what these relationships look like, how to behave online as opposed to offline. Keeping children safe is a big priority. It is part of our safeguarding policy. So we look into privacy on and offline, safe and unsafe touch and contacts. We also cover how to report worries and concerns.
There are 8 areas we need to focus on for PSHE. These are mental well-being from years 1 to year 6, internet safety and harm, physical health, fitness, healthy eating from early years to year 6, drugs, alcohol and tobacco from years 5 to year 6, health and prevention from early years to year 6, basic first aid and changing adolescent body from year 5 to year 6. Guidance states that puberty should be covered in health education and should be taught before the onset so that children are prepared in advance for the changes they will experience. The idea is to prepare children to expect the changes so nothing comes out of the blue. If children are not aware, this could increase their anxiety levels and worries.
Relationship education is age appropriate, building knowledge and life skills over time in a way that prepares children for issues they will soon face. We have already commented on the different types of relationships, but we'd like to mention why LGBT+, lesbian, gay, bisexual and transgender is taught within RSE in primary schools. We strongly believe that all our children should be taught about the society in which they are growing up in. Relationships education is designed to foster respect for others and for their differences. It's about educating children about healthy relationships. We also believe that children should receive teaching on LGBT+ and know that they are different types of loving, healthy relationships. This is vital. The DfE states pupils should be able to understand the world in which they are growing up in, which means understanding that some people are LGBT+, and that this should be respected in British society, and that the law affords them and their relationships recognition and protections.
One more thing we would like to share with you is the science curriculum, as this links very closely with this particular subject. I'll pause for a moment so that you can look at this slide. You can see that these are the objectives that fit nicely with the relationships and sex education curriculum. These are statutory, so parents cannot withdraw children from these lessons. If you want to discuss these objectives further, please get in touch with us.
Where and how did you learn about sex and relationships? If we do not teach our children RSE and give them the correct facts, they will come across information through the media, TV, internet, mobiles, siblings and friends. This information may not be correct and could cause confusion and worries. Children could develop misconceptions and become anxious. Surely, for this reason, children should be taught RSE in schools. Why is relationships and sex education important? Entitlement. Puberty is starting earlier for some children by age 8. Unwanted conceptions, sexually transmitted infections, safeguarding, grooming, child sexual exploitation, abuse, sexting, and online pornography. As we said with the previous slide, children should be taught the facts and given correct information. Children have an entitlement under the Children's Act of 2004 to be taught strategies for well-being, and under the Education Act of 2002, they are given the opportunity to explore responsibilities of adult life. By doing this, any myths and misconceptions will be dispelled. We will show you what some children's misconceptions are before they are taught RSE on later slides. This research was not done at Bounds Green. Ultimately, it is all about children's safety. Ofsted is clear that schools must have preventative programs in place that enable children to learn about safety and the risks in relationships. Also, technology is evolving at a tremendous pace. The need to protect our children from inappropriate online content, cyberbullying and exploitation is growing concern. At Bounds Green, our bespoke and very comprehensive programs support in addressing these issues.
Learning. Active and interactive engagement are the most effective ways of approaching RSE. We do this in our PSHE lessons through core books. We use a variety of teaching and learning styles. These include videos, information sheets, leaflets, games, role play, visual aids, and the internet. At Bounds Green School, we cover most of the RSE curriculum through PSHE and science. Some themes and objectives are touched upon in other subjects, e.g. online safety is taught through the ICT or computing curriculum. All our lessons are bespoke to address the needs of our children. We do not use schemes of work.